With the cost of living crisis putting a squeeze on all of our budgets, there has been an explosion in viral TikToks, Reels, and YouTube Shorts dishing out financial advice. And while this can be useful, and in some cases is encouraging people to finally take an interest and take control of their finances, just because it's viral doesn't mean it's valuable. I'm going to be breaking down the financial tips floating around the internet that I am more than happy to scroll on past. From girl boss schemes to investing shortcuts, we're going to be talking about all of the ways which finfluencers, that's financial influencers, are lying to us. The first one is that saying, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. Now, this phrase had a huge amount of attention put on it back in 2022 when the influencer Molly May said it during an interview. It's very much linked with this girl boss concept where the attitude is that you're not rich yet because you're not working hard enough. I don't know Molly May, obviously. I'm not sure, maybe she fully thought it through. Maybe she didn't really think how it was going to come across when she said it, but she's not the only one to have said this. It's kind of like when Kim Kardashian said that her advice to women in business was to get off your arse and work. It's like, thank you, Kim. I was under the impression that money grew on trees, and now it makes so much sense why I'm not a millionaire. The truth is that we do not have the same 24 hours in a day. A person who is 25, single, with no kids, living in a one-bed flat, working a 9 to 5, has a very, very different 24 hours to a person in their 30s who is married with 2 kids, living in a 4-bed house, and also has a 9 to 5 job. The single person quite likely comes home from the job, manages to sit down, maybe read a book, maybe put a little bit of time into that side hustle that they've been trying to build up. The person with 2 kids comes home and has to deal with laundry and cooking a meal for 4, and kids that are arguing with each other and getting homework and school admin done. And then they have to wrestle the kids into bed. Yes, this is based on a true story. What your 24 hours looks like also changes massively depending on whether you've come from family wealth versus a working class background. People with family wealth typically have a safety net that allows them to fail more than once. People from a working class background who do not have family wealth to bail them out do not have the luxury of being able to take risks and starting multiple businesses that might go on to fail before they finally get the right business formula and go on to be a success. It's not about whether or not these two people are working as hard as each other. They may well be working just as hard, just as many hours, with just as much passion. The working class person doesn't have the luxury of trial and error when it comes to business, or the finances when it comes to upskilling so that they can seek out a more profitable career. While the ticking clock moves in exactly the same way, no matter what your situation, pressures on your time and finances will vary massively depending on your home, family, and health situation. That means that none of us experience exactly the same stresses and constraints in a typical day. The next viral piece of financial advice that I have always ignored is that you can't get rich working a 9 to 5. I know plenty of people that got rich working their 9 to 5. I mean, we're not talking Elon Musk rich, but we're talking they can take multiple holidays a year, live in a really nice house, can drive a really, really nice car, a couple of really nice cars, in fact, that kind of rich. It is demonstrably untrue that you cannot get rich from working a 9 to 5. As with so many things on social media, the premise of this just skips the nuance of the reality of the situation. A lot of people won't get rich working a 9 to 5 because of salary level, their job responsibilities, the skill set that they have, training, and also their long-term spending and investment strategy. Now, some people will get rich by ditching their 9 to 5, but you could also point to plenty of examples of people who have lost everything after trying to start their own business. This concept is often something I see being used by financial influencers who are trying to sell you something. Now, that something might be a course or a membership or entry into some kind of MLM scheme. What's so interesting about it is that so much of the time you can tell that they're talking about how much money they're making, but the bulk of the money they're making is by selling the dream to people, not by actually living the dream themselves. I would like to make it an international rule that if someone is going to go online and sell some kind of business concept, then they have to bring receipts showing how much they have made doing that specific thing. I'm so sick of people saying that they have made 6 figures doing something and there's just no proof that they've made those 6 figures, and they're not even actually doing the thing. They're clearly spending most of the time selling people the method for doing the thing with lots of promises about how rich it will make them. I would also like to make it a rule that they have to present some kind of evidence of how much their students are making after 6 months of doing the course or having read the ebook or signing up to the MLM. I want to know how much their students are making, because I bet you a lot of them aren't making 6 figures. And it's not just about being your own boss. The people selling these concepts also promise that it's going to happen super fast, like become a millionaire in less than a year fast. I've been running my own business for 5 years, and because of the type of work that I do, for example, YouTube and blogging, I come across the type of people all the time that are selling this work as being an incredibly easy get-rich-quick scheme. It could not be further from the truth. I've seen claims about YouTube saying that within 6 months you could be making 5K a month with only 2 hours of work a week. It's not true. Look, I'm not denying that maybe some people have got lucky, but even the really, really big YouTubers that you see killing it on here, they are putting more than a couple of hours into this a week. They are putting a ton of effort and investment of capital into making their channel a success. What I'm trying to say is that while passive income, while it is real, it isn't truly passive. It requires significant upfront effort, skills, or capital, or maybe even all three. Whether you're going to be creating digital products or investing or building a side hustle, the fact of the matter is that sustainable income streams require time, planning, and continuous management. The issue here lies in oversimplified promises, which are done purely to sell the dream. Many sellers are going to focus on quick results in order to lure in their audience. And that glosses over the hard work, risks, or failures involved. That then creates unrealistic expectations, which leaves people frustrated when it doesn't work out for them. You're not going to sell many courses when you say, hey, like you might make some money with this, but not very much, and actually it's going to take you a ton of work to do it, and there's absolutely no guarantee of success. But hey, pay me $99.99. Remember, building wealth takes patience, consistency, and informed decisions, not shortcuts. The next piece of financial advice that I'm ignoring is to follow your passion. The saying, follow your passion and you will never work a day in your life, is, I think, shallow and slightly misleading advice. First of all, the trouble with it is it's such a vague concept, follow your passion. Like, what if your passion is laying around watching Netflix all day? Like, what is the money spinner that you're going to make out of that? I mean, yeah, people make money from reviewing TV, but you're not just going to be able to watch the TV that you love. You're going to have to watch all the TV, including stuff that you absolutely hate. Say you really enjoy food. Does that mean you become a chef, or do you become a food critic, or do you start working on the Maltesers production line? That one wouldn't be too bad, actually. I think the point I'm trying to make is that follow your passion, I think, can throw up a lot more questions than it can provide answers. And the answers aren't always going to be great solutions to the problem of how do I make a living? And my other big problem with it is that once you start making your passion your job, the thing that brings you in money, it stops being quite as fun. Once you start monetizing something that you used to do as a hobby, it becomes more of a chore. You're not doing it because you want to anymore, you're doing it because you have to in order to pay the bills. Now, of course, we all need some kind of job satisfaction and happiness, but in my view, it's important to keep hobbies and work separate. For me personally, I've always preferred the idea of seeking out a career that I know I'm interested in, that can work around my home and family life, and most importantly of all, is sustainable. If you can build the right skills in that job so that you can do it well, you find it rewarding, and you find it interesting every single day, then I think you will have a job that you are passionate about. The trick is finding a balance so that you have time to pursue those other passions in your spare time. Next up, watching Netflix makes you poor. The TV presenter Kirstie Allsopp faced a huge backlash a couple of years ago when she said that young people would find it much easier to buy a home if they stopped buying takeout coffee, cancelled their gym membership, and stopped paying for subscriptions such as Netflix. The response for her was fairly overwhelmingly negative. One person on Twitter even put together this map showing how many years you would have to go without Netflix in order to afford a deposit for a house. I think what Allsopp was trying to do was make a point about the additional pressures on people's budgets in modern society, with so many more options for how to spend our money on nice to haves. And to be fair, telling people that, you know, sometimes you can't have all of the nice to haves isn't terrible advice. But for most people, just cancelling their Netflix subscription isn't going to lead to this magical influx of cash. It's like $10.99 a month I think I pay. If I took that money and put it into a savings account that gave me a 4% return, then I think I'd have something like £1,600 after 10 years. It's not exactly a magical pot of cash that's going to have me rushing off to the estate agents anytime soon. I think that most people would benefit far more from taking a look at the big ticket items in their budget, and that's going to be your house, your car, any kind of public transport travel that you have to pay for, your holiday spending, and food. The next viral piece of financial advice that I often see online that I am definitely ignoring is that further education is pointless. I think this is another one that's often repeated by those kind of girl boss, finance bro type people who are quite likely trying to sell you a course, some kind of membership, or get you signed up to an MLM. Now, to be honest with you, I think there's nuance in this, and it really depends what you ultimately end up studying and what it is that you go on to do with your degree. But I just think it's so wrong to make a blanket statement like this. It's like clearly untrue. Obviously, if you want to be a doctor, you're going to need some further education. You can't just walk into a ward and start operating on the first person that you see. Obviously, I come at this from a British perspective, where I don't think our average student debt is quite as high as, say, it is in the US for graduates. But I think further education isn't pointless. It's your golden ticket to better job opportunities and bigger salaries in many cases. Learning keeps you sharp and ready for this fast changing world that we now live in. And with the advancements in AI, I think we're going to see a ton of jobs becoming obsolete in the very near future. Therefore, I think increasing your skills is going to become ever more important. The trick is just to align it with your goals and to make it count. And the final piece of viral financial advice that I'm definitely avoiding and ignoring is any kind of specific investment advice. I shy well away from anyone on social media who is trying to tout very specific investments or schemes. And it's a particular red flag for me when they are promising that this particular investment is a get rich quick guarantee. Just buy low and sell high, duh. Honestly, if it were that good and easy, everyone would be a millionaire. The thing is, there's no one size fits all approach when it comes to investing. What you should invest and where depends so much on your income, your debts, your age, your attitude towards risk, and what you already own in terms of assets, plus what kind of debt you have. The truth is that a lot of the specific investing advice out there is less about making you, the viewer, money and more about making the creator money. This study from Almond Finance found that 87% of financial advice from influencers could be potentially misleading. And just like the passive income dream sellers, the research also highlighted how the sole aim for many of the creators was selling courses or ebooks, or even making affiliate income from getting you to sign up to a specific platform. While I think that way too many people shy away from investing because they feel intimidated by it, I do also think that investing is really personal, and it's something that you should do after your own research, rather than following any kind of hype or individual success stories, which could be completely untrue. Try to focus on credible resources and professionals who can tailor their advice specifically to you. This is just a selection of some of the worst financial advice that I have come across on the internet. I would love to hear some of the examples that you have found as well. Let me know in the comments.